Hi, I'm scouting a new area today, and it's something I do quite often because in the past I visited mostly the same spots every time. But a new area can give you great new inspiration and new insights for your photography. So I think every landscape photographer should find new places in their local areas. This area is about 40 minutes drive from my home, and I've never been here before. The light isn't that good, but I like the area. It's all new and also quite a bit the same because the Netherlands, everything is flat in the northern part where I live. We don't have rocks, no hills. It's almost only woodland and heather, and everything is flat, so that's it. Oh, and we do have some curly little rivers, so they are pretty nice. But discovering new places, I always make sure I bring my camera scouting new places, because I quite often find myself scouting and in bad weather, and the light is just amazing when I arrive. So there's might be a little gap in the clouds, and it can give you good light. Today that won't happen, so too bad. But I got another video online about disappointment, and I was getting out expecting bad light, but the light was amazing. So take your camera with you. Other photographers might say different-wise, but I like to bring it. And today I'm also shooting this video, so the camera is with me. So let's check the area and see if I can find any compositions for the future. This can be quite difficult because compositions over in the Netherlands aren't always that obvious, because the light can change your composition or your perspective on a composition immensely. So light can help scouting, but let's see what we can find today. So, how do I scout? Well, most of my photos are more intimate landscapes and are hard to find on Instagram, Google Maps, 500 pixels and Flickr and those kind of networks. So I have to scout, and I use Google Maps satellite all the time. I can't use Google Earth or the photographer's ephemeris 3D because we don't have any altitude or heights here in the Netherlands. So I have to see for myself, or I have to find more about the nature reserve or the area on Google and read about if there are hills or something. But most of the time it isn't the case. So I use Google Maps to find my locations, and I often find the smaller locations pretty nice. So I most of the time zoom in more deep on Google Maps to find these locations, but I only use Google Maps. Some other thing I do is about 6 months ago I made a list with areas nearby. So areas within a 20 minutes driving distance from home, between 20 and 30 minutes, 30 and 40 and over 40 minutes. Because before I didn't have any particular ideas about where I wanted to scout. So the evening before I went on Google Maps and searched for a new area, but I constantly was overwhelmed. Where do I have to go? And so it gave me a little bit of stress. But this list helps me, because now I can find a location on the list. I feel like a 30 minutes drive, so let's do this, and I'm just out. So that's nice. And I have in this list areas which I have been visiting and I still have to visit. So when I feel like scouting or the weather is a little bit more bad, I take a new area. And this really helps me. I also find that scouting new areas in bad weather is a bit hard with intimate landscapes, because the intimate landscapes I photograph, and maybe also my experience, is that intimate landscapes need, well, I need good light to see these compositions. And in bad weather, these compositions will not reveal always for my eyes. So maybe I am trying to train my eye for these compositions in bad light. But that's still something I have to learn. So overall, scout also in bad weather. I always take my camera while scouting because the weather can just be amazing, and I use Google Maps in creating a list with the areas I can visit and I want to visit. And always take your mind and your heart with you, because they are the best tools you have. So let's find a composition in this weather, and if not, well, then we have one for the next time. Bye. Right, I found a little composition of a tree, and I'm a little bit too late shooting this video because the light from the sun was just hitting through the clouds a little bit on the tree, and there's a little bit of haze in the air which wasn't there this morning, so it's pretty okay for a scouting morning. So I took out the long lens because I wanted to have a little bit of compression on the tree, and the tree has some nice lines bending over to the left, which is pretty pleasing. It would be nice if there was more haziness, because it would set the tree apart from the background, and I should come back here when there is more haziness or a bit of fog for this particular composition. But I will walk you through my settings. I have a custom dial mode on my camera, and it's basically set always on ISO 100, f9, and there's no noise reduction, no stabilization, it's all turned off. So I'm always good to go in this custom dial mode. So I have it on ISO 100, f9. I always turn the image stabilization from the lens off, so that's something not to forget, because it can give you a little bit of shake between the stabilization and when it's turned off, in case of a remote control or something like that. So I will always turn that off, and I focus on the tree. That's my subject, and there's nothing else I'm doing here, because it's all a little bit busy on the foreground, so I don't get any things to do with a foreground or something. So it's just the tree. And let's see, it's a little bit overexposed. I have turned on the zebra lines on my Sony, so I can see when the light of or the sky is overexposed. So I'm turning it off, turning it down a little bit, so nicely exposed. There's quite a bit of light in the sky. I might use a luminosity mask. A luminosity mask is very helpful. I use it in Lightroom. You can find a lot about it on YouTube, so you should check it out. I'm not going to do a bracket. I think I can do enough with this right now. And the sad thing is, the light is gone. I will take the photo, but I also took a photo just before with my other lens, 24-70, and this is the 70-200 on my camera right now. So I was a bit in a hurry, but I took the shot with the sun on it. Okay, I have a 2-second timer. When there is more wind, I have a 5-second timer, or I use my remote control to avoid any shake, especially on a long lens. I'm shooting at 70 millimeters, and I think that's it. And that's the shot.